So I wanted to try something different as well. I mean, I was posting things on LinkedIn and creating my own YouTube channel. And just like you, the first time you do it, you get hypercritical. You think, oh, I should have done X, Y, and Z better and whatnot. And I was talking to a friend who, was in my improv group, but she's also, her day job is being a therapist. And she was listening to me and she said, okay, hold on, Rachel. It's just your first pancake. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, okay, you make a pancake, your first one sucks. It's just not, the pan is not greased the right way and whatever. It's like the first one you just know it's gonna suck, and then the second one gets better. And so everything you do, just think of it as your first pancake. And so the first time I uploaded a video, I sent it to her. I was like, "This is my first pancake," and I mean, it was, not the greatest, but you have to think like, who cares? It's your first one. It's not going to be great, and you do it again. And just, with anything in life. I mean, people ask like, how do you write a book? I'm like, look, you just start writing. I mean, you just know mentally you're going to cut out like 90% of it. Doesn't matter. Just do it and get it out there. And just, it's almost like if you have the expectation, your first one is just trying it out. It's a trial period that it reduces the pressure, and it kind of, it reduces that kind of friction of like putting yourself out there, because trying something new is scary. I mean, that's how human brains are. We are built to be more risk adverse because those of our ancestors who weren't risk averse died. So, we want,
Yeah,
and we care about what our fellow humans think of us. But, just know it's your first pancake. Try it. If it doesn't work out, you're going to make another one anyway.
that's right. And I love that you're doing the improv. Improv is so scary.
That's why I like it. So here's a story. This leans more kind of in the hacking fears and just kind of trying things, and also kind of going to your question of, how did I end up doing the things I've done? And it is, you know, I think Steve Jobs had this quote where basically, you do a bunch of stuff and then it all kind of makes sense in hindsight, but at the time it doesn't make sense. And so how I got into improv was when I first moved to Shanghai, and this is 2012, so it was a while ago. I didn't have any friends. I didn't know what to do with myself, right? And so I saw this listing for an English improv show, and I had a work dinner. I couldn't make it, so I emailed them. I was like, "Oh, English? You guys speak English? I want to hang out with you guys." So I go and I ask, "Hey, can I enroll in your classes?" And they're like, "We're a group, and we're actually Chinese speaking, but if you want to just come and hang out." Just come and check us out. And I was like, something to do. Okay, sure. So I went there, and I mean, they were totally hazing me. They were like, all right, you're going to rap in Mandarin. And I'm like, I know
Oh my
100
God.
words, but sure. And I mean, you just go with it, because in my head, I'm like, it's either this or just like walking around aimlessly in a city full of people I don't know. So whatever, these are my new friends for the evening.
Right, right,
And I just
right.
went with it. And they were like, okay, like, we didn't think you'd actually rap. All right, you know what? Like, come and join us. Like, be part of an improv group. And I was terrible. One of which is because I literally understood like a small percentage of what they were saying. And I was trying frantically to come up with words to say it back. And as an aside, it is the best language lesson. Like, if you want to learn a language, do it in improv, because you're just like whatever you can say, but you will not have time to be shy about speaking the language. The
All
point
I
of it.
can, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, no. You almost kind of I got into improv just out of survival. But what I actually found is that when I came back to the States, improv actually got a lot more scary for me, because I think when you're speaking another language, you're just in like survival mode. Like, it's like a hierarchy of needs. You're like, I just need to come up with the words that you're not even thinking about the audience. When you're doing
Interesting.
English, you're like, these people are looking at me. But it was
Right, right.
interesting because the feeling of that fear gave me so much adrenaline afterwards. I described it like skydiving without risking death. It was just like you're on a high for hours, that I was like, oh, I kind of
Oh
like
yeah. It's kind
that. And
of like
so,
cold plunge, right? Like
yeah,
you plunge and then you come out and you feel amazing.
yes, yes. And so I got into improv because I used to say because it's scary. And then after a while, you keep on doing it and it's not scary anymore. So now actually what I like about improv now is that it's almost like you could be a kid again. And I say this specifically because I, was taking classes in improv, and I had a teacher who was phenomenal. He had, performed at a million fancy places. And he said, Rachel, the one thing I would suggest you work on, he's like, you gotta just let yourself go. He's like, you're like trying too hard to be a good performer or whatever. Just let it all out. And so now, like when I'm on stage, it's funny because like of my improv friends, they're always saying like, oh, Rachel has very expressive. She's like very expressive because I'm like, I'm just all in. And it's kind of like an emotional release, but it makes it fun. You do feel like a 3-year-old in a really like cool way. And so the point of this all is sometimes you start on one thing and then it kind of evolves. And it's not just what you're doing with it and the benefits, but it's also your purpose, your reason for doing it also changes. But it's also kind of what is the aftermath of doing improv? I mean, I kind of fell into public speaking. It wasn't like I took a bunch of like, speaking courses or anything, but I just felt comfortable on stage. And, you people say, oh, when you have Q&A, people are like, oh, wow, you just like, on your toes. I'm like, yeah, you're doing improv. You're like, go, just go, and you develop that muscle for it. Or,
Yeah,
and I say this all because, you never know where, it's like the first rock that rolls down the mountain. You don't know where it evolves into, but it's also like, if you look at that in a macro scale, I think trying something new isn't scary because you're like, sure, it's awkward, but it's like, it's almost exciting the possibilities of all these like new adventures that could lead to. It's almost akin to traveling to a new country for your first time. Yeah, sure, you don't know how to do anything and you don't know where the store is or whatever, but it's like there's a little bit of that excitement of like, ooh, what am I going to discover? And so just
right.
with anything new you're doing, you never know where and you can end up. So what do you really have to lose by trying something new?
Yeah, no, totally. And as it applies to, AI adoption, change is very scary. It's sort of built into our,
Hmm.
human frame. But when you start setting those small steps, as you described, you might end up, having a lot of fun with
Yes.
it. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And it is, I think with AI too, I think, if you look at neuropsychology, it's, when people are overwhelmed, they just don't want to do it. I mean, and you see it play out in a million different ways. One of it is, paradox of choice. You have too many choices, you don't know what to do. So now people have evolved from asking, how do I use ChatGPT to which is the best model? What's the best way to? And I was like, look, I mean, you're complicating this, and now you're in analysis paralysis. Just start with one little thing. You want to use ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, let's just practice, and then after a while, you'll know when to go to what. But it's yeah, it is just kind of you know taking little micro steps, and that's the same way with getting your team to adopt certain things. I mean, you don't say, hey, overnight everyone has to do certain things. You just take little baby steps, and it becomes less cognitively intimidating.